Hey there folks, Oldershot here, and today we're going to do an early impression on Savage Lands, developed by Digital DNA Games and on sale on Steam at the regular price at around $27 USD. Now, this game is in early access, so as I usually like to do with my early access impressions, I'd like to remind the folks out there that things could very well have been changed and updated by the time you watch this video. So at the very least, I recommend checking out the Steam store page just to make sure you're nice and up to date. Well, anyways, what is Savage Lands? It's essentially another one of those open world survival games, right? But it kind of throws in a lot of RPG elements and ideas into the mix, so that kind of makes things a little bit interesting. Now at the end of the video, we're going to go over some of the options and extra features that this game has to offer. But for the time being, we're going to just jump into the game so we can explore some of the gameplay. Alright, so we'll select a character we already got started and a game that we already got started. Why not? Alright, we're loading into the Sunring Isles, which is basically the island that you'll be spawned into. So here we are, we're in the Savage Lands. It is first person, as you can see, and here we go. There's a bunch of RPG stuff already. Look, we just killed a skeleton in not too long ago. Where is it? Where's the corpse of it? Okay, he might have disappeared. But there are skeletons in this game. There are skeletons, there's dragons, as you can see. He's on top of the dragon's nest right now. You kind of got a little bit of a vision on his wing. You can't really see all that well from this perspective right now. But yeah, as you can see, there's some RPG, elements in here, at least as far as theming is concerned. And also, check this out. Chop, 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 and chop some more. There you go. You can actually cut down pretty much every tree in this game, and shrubbery as well. I'll show you that. Okay, there we go. You can get sticks out of it. You can get wood logs out of trees, of course. It's kind of like the forest. If you guys have played a similar open world survival game called The Forest, it's actually quite popular. I'm sure most of you probably have heard of it. But it's sort of similar to that. Even the graphic styling is similar to The Forest. But obviously, instead of cannibals, we have dragons and skeletons like this guy here, our dead friend here. Alright, and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of interesting, and you can also put on different equipments, as you can see. Alright, well, there's another skeleton here. We're going to try and avoid them for the time being, because I want to show you a couple more things. Let's see here. We can also craft funny things as well. Let's see, we can make ourselves, let's see, maybe we can make a stone hammer. Okay, let's make ourselves a crude stone hammer. Craft. There we go. And now we got ourselves a crude stone hammer. There we go. Not bad, eh? So, yeah. You can craft stuff. You can find things to help you craft stuff. You can explore the world, and you can find random loot, food and whatnot. And there is a health meter as well. You can see in the top left-hand corner, the blue represents how cold we are. Temperature actually does affect your survival in this game. The yellow bar represents your hunger meter, as you would expect. And red, you guessed it, it is your HP bar, right? So you have to keep in mind of your exposure to the elements, as sometimes you can get cold with snow and blizzards and all that kind of stuff. And you can also starve to death, so looking for food is also kind of important. Alright. And we got a couple skeletons chasing us. We're going to avoid them, actually. Actually, you know what? We're going to fight them. No, we're going to avoid them because I don't want to die too early into this. We're going to see if we can find some loot around. Now, I haven't explored all of the map yet, but from what I found, there is at least one village and this dragon's nest that we've already kind of explored. And there's a few of these random little towers and campsites that will provide some loot. Alright, now our bags are kind of full and encumbered at the moment, so let's start building some stuff here. Yeah, let's do that. That way I can show you some of the build mechanics. Let's see. Right, you hit J and you can see your journal. which will kind of help newer players figure out the game, as it'll give you a survival checklist, as you can see here. It'll give you some goals, at least some short-term goals to help you learn the game. Ooh, deer. Deer is great because you can harvest a lot of sinew, which will help you craft, as well as meat. Alright. Anyways, I'm getting a little distracted here. I'm going to go and start crafting some stuff here. So let's see here. Let's go and craft ourselves a Pike of Resurrection. I think that's going to be kind of useful. This is great because the Pike of Resurrection actually allows you to respawn into a new point. Do we have the materials for it? Okay, we're one skull off and one log off. You can probably get the piece of log by chopping the wood here. So yeah, you actually like don't start the game completely over when you die. Well, you kind of do, but you kind of don't. Like the world stays the same as the world that you died in. You can actually find your corpse and kind of get all the materials from it if you happen to be able to find that corpse. And with this new Pike of Resurrection thing here that I'm trying to build, you can actually make new spawn points, right? So we're going to try and hunt ourselves a new skeleton, so that way we can finish our Resurrection Pike. You can also build buildings as well, and there's actually a fair amount of stuff to build in this very first version of it being in early access, which is great to see actually. Let's try to build ourselves a wood shack. Let's see here. I have to find a surface of that. Okay, here we go. We'll place it right here. There we go. That'll do just fine. Alright, so we need some more, let's see, we need some more logs, we need some more sticks. So we'll do that. So we're looking for skulls, logs, and sticks, and then we'll have ourselves a nice campsite. I'll show you some more stuff that you can actually kind of build as well. So it's not just a wooden shack, you can also build stone houses, campfires. There's more stuff too. You can build a bigger wooden house. You can even build a town hall or a simple lento if you really want, right? So there's already a fair amount of stuff that you can kind of build in this game, and there'll be even more stuff once we create some more materials, of course. Now, if you build the campfire, that'll unlock more recipes just simply by standing next to the campfire and using it, of course, and that'll allow you to forge weapons and new tools and all that kind of fancy stuff. Right now we're just going to try and build ourselves a nice shelter. You can eventually build yourself a nice town as well. Let's see, we're going to hunt ourselves a deer as well, because we can use the meat and sinew out of them, because we got to eat, right? We got to eat. Right, so there you go. So, you know, it's an open world survival game with some RPG elements, as you can see. If you like these kind of games, this is actually not too bad, I have to say. I mean, it's functional, it's not overly buggy, although there is still some bugs that I've noticed. Like, what the hell is that? Okay, you guys see that? That's a skeleton on top of the dragon's nest, okay? So, it's a little buggy sometimes, okay? But nothing too major that's breaking the game. So, you know, it's early access, so some forgiveness points must be given out, right? And also, the only thing too, though, is if you're not into these games and you're really into RPGs, I don't know if this game will actually convince you to get into the survival genre. Mainly because, well, the RPG elements in this game, though, you know, it's kind of nice that we have the theming of RPGs and stuff like that. I always thought that the RPG genre and the survival genre is a great mix, and I'm glad that somebody's kind of acting on that. The RPG mechanics are actually kind of weak, to be completely honest. I mean, the combat is very, very simple, right? It's literally just whacking at things, and there's really not that much stats to min-max. I mean, you can create armor pieces. That is a possibility, as you can see. And, you know, you can see a little bit of stats here, strength and warmth and all that stuff, but nothing that you would see in, say, Diablo or World of Warcraft or anything like that. So you're not going to get, like, a hugely, you know, deep RPG from this game, right? At least not from a mechanic standpoint. It's still mostly a survival game, right? So think of it as a survival game with RPG theming to it rather than an actual RPG and survival game meld, right? Because I really don't feel like this is really an RPG. Again, it is definitely more of a survival game. It also lacks a narrative that is commonly associated with RPGs, but that's kind of common in the survival genre, right? Not too much in the way of narrative or story. So again, it kind of goes back to how I feel about this game being more of a survival game, much more of a survival game than an RPG. Although, that being said, I actually do really like the fact that it's kind of throwing in a lot of RPG tropes and elements and all that kind of stuff into the mix. Because again, I think those two genres really fit together really, really well. I mean, if anyone's played RPGs, they know already how open world those games can kind of be. And open world and sandbox survival is literally, you know, it goes hand in hand, right? So I'm kind of glad that somebody's acting on that idea. Anyways, let's see if we can find some more loot. We're gonna leave. We're gonna try and find a skeleton. Is what we're gonna do, so we can make our respawn spike. I think that's kind of important. Now our coal meter is going down significantly because the weather is pretty terrible right now. it's kind of blizzarding, I guess you can say. It's snowing, that's for sure. And once our temperature goes all the way down, which it has, you'll see our health slowly go down as well, which is not great. Let's see if we can kill the skeleton real quick so we can get a skull and make that respawn spike, because it looks like we're going to need it. Because we're about to die real bad. We're gonna die real bad. Okay, let's see. Let's loot this guy real quick. Take a skull. Okay, let's run back to our spike. Oh god, we're at 9%, guys. Not great. And we got no food to heal us either. Not great, not great. Let's see. Can we make it in time? Of course, the skeleton spawns next to it right when we need it to, right? There we go. We push it. Alright, I think this is going to be our new respawn. We're about to die now. There we go. So we died. Let's hope our respawn spike worked, and we'll respawn right next to our corpse so we can gather all the materials that we dropped from it. Respawn. Okay, it did work. See? It worked. Not bad, eh? Alright, let's see. Ooh, we're going to take this out of it real quick just so we can defend ourselves. Just like that. Whack, whack, whack. Huzzah. So it's kind of interesting. It really is kind of interesting. I mean, I kind of like it, to be completely honest. Now, the thing about this game, though, it's even though it's nice that it does have a survival checklist to help beginners kind of start things off and have a small, like I said, a short-term kind of goal to achieve as far as learning this game is concerned. It's still a little bit confusing when I first jumped into this game. It took me a good couple hours to really understand it. All I really did the first couple hours was run around and die, run around and die. Because when you first spawn into this game, it doesn't give you a weapon or an axe or anything like that. I didn't even know that I could chop down trees or anything like that until I accidentally found an axe, right? So I think a tutorial in a later version would be welcomed for beginners especially. But once you get the hang of it, once you understand the game a little bit better, it does kind of open up quite a bit. And like I said, there's actually a fair amount of stuff to craft already. Like all this stuff here, all the armor pieces, all these different weapons and tools. And let's see here. Let's go into our building supplies here. Right? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's escape that. There we go. You know, you can build a bunch of shacks and different buildings and all that stuff, and you can see all your recipes right here. Looks like we're being attacked again. Oh. Let's see here. Let's take care of him real quick. I think we're gonna die again. Luckily we got our respawn station, so it's not too bad. Okay, so we'll just respawn after this. But like I said, it's not completely newbie friendly, I guess you can say. But once you get used to it, it's not so bad, right? It's kind of common in these survival games, you know. It takes some time to understand and to really kind of get what you're getting and how to play and all that stuff. So, you know, having some patience definitely helps. But overall, I think it's actually pretty enjoyable. Like I said, if you're looking for the RPG experience, you might get it from a thematic standpoint, because, you know, there's skeletons, there's dragons, and there's dire wolves, and all that stuff. But mechanically, you're really just getting a survival game with some RPG-inspired mechanics, right? Like armor pieces and all that kind of stuff. So do keep that in mind. You know, don't expect to get like number crunching metagaming from Diablo or Final Fantasy or anything like that. You know, it's a lot closer to the Forest or DayZ than it is to Final Fantasy, right? And graphically, as far as graphics is concerned, the aesthetics is pretty nice. It's not too bad looking. I mean, it's really gray. You know, it's stylistically speaking, it's not overly inspired, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, you can tell the developers are going for more of the realistic look, right? And, you know, they've achieved it with a fair amount of success, I think. You know, the landscape is lush with foliage, and there's a fair amount of, like, different things to kind of find in the world. Like I said, there's a village around here somewhere. I'm kind of looking for it right now, actually. And there's the Dragon's Nest, which a lot of people will be attracted to, I'm sure. Oh god, dire wolves. There's a lot of dire wolves in this game, and they are really, really dangerous, right? So let's get out of here. It's nice to have that respawn spike made early in the game, because you don't have to worry as much, because if you die, you'll just get respawned next to whatever home base you're trying to create, which does actually help things a little bit. Alright, so, you know, overall this game's not too bad, I must say. I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I'm enjoying it. It did take a little bit of a learning curve for me to really find that enjoyment, though. When I first started this game, it was nothing but frustration, right? Like, I just kept dying, I didn't know what to do, and yeah, it was just frustrating and not that much fun. But once I got the hang of it, once I found the axe, or made the axe, and start creating stuff, and trying to make my own little village, and explore more of the landscape, I started to enjoy this game a little bit more. So, you know, for an early access, it has some potential, I must say. There's already a fair amount of content. There's a good few variety of enemies. There's skeletons, there's dire wolves, and there's the dragons that I've noticed so far. There's a few different varieties of wolves as well. It's not just the brown ones. I think the white ones are a little bit more powerful. So I would like to see them add more, but still it's enough to kind of scatter the landscape with you know, different things to do anyways, right? And there's also deers, of course, and boars, so yeah, not too bad. I'm sure they'll be adding more as well. And again, the game's pretty stable. You know, I haven't had any crashes or anything like that. Haven't had any significant frame drops, although, you know, the game is actually a little bit graphics intensive, mainly probably because of the foliage and all that kind of stuff, but a fairly consistent frame rate, so that's always a good thing. There's also online, I should mention. There is online, which is great, and it's already functional and available for players to enjoy right on launch, which is also great. You know, I mean, I would like to see the game improve a little bit. There's still a lot of rough edges, you know. Some of the animations a little bit weird, mainly with the shadows. Like, you look at this, it's, I don't know, it just looks a little weird to me, hey? You know, there's still some rough edges. It's early access, so what can you really expect, right? But as far as it being in early access, it's a pretty playable game, right? So it does have that going for it. So overall, I kind of enjoy this game for the most part. It's pretty playable, and it does what it sets out to do. It's a survival game with RPG elements. Although, again, I wouldn't expect a full-on RPG experience. You are going to be getting mostly a survival experience from this game. Alright, so do keep that in mind. Alright, so let's see. We're going to chop this tree here. We're going to chop this tree here. Okay, or it can keep rolling. That's fine, too. Alright, so let's see if we can finish building this house. Build, build, build. There we go. Well, anyways, you know what? Let's go. Let's get out of this. I think you guys kind of get the idea anyways. Go back to the main menu. We'll explore some of the options and extra features. Options here. Key config. You can fully configure your key bindings, which is great. Let's check out the graphics options. So, not too robust, but it got all the necessities, so I guess there is that. And that's as much as you're going to get out of the options. And as I mentioned before, you got your main campaign, or you can join a online game. Let's just quickly jump into an online game just to see what it's all about. Let's see. It looks like it can only hold 8 players per server so far, from the looks of it. So there is that. It's not a huge map from what I've explored so far, but at the same time, I haven't explored all of the map yet. So there might be a little bit bigger than I think, but I keep running into the same thing. I keep running into the Dragon's Nest, or the village, or the shore, or a few little towns. Right? I haven't really found anywhere else that's overly unique or original, but hopefully they'll expand on that as they progress with the game. Let's see, we're in multiplayer now. Let's see if we can find ourselves another player or something like that. That'll be kind of neat. Oh, by the way, you can actually, the character that you create in single player, right, like when you actually get enough materials to make armor and all that fancy stuff, you can carry that player with the same loot into multiplayer or into other people's games or into a new game if you want. So that's kind of interesting. Like right now, all this stuff, this is the same stuff I was carrying in our single player game not too long ago, right? So that's kind of interesting. I like that. It keeps the character progression. And I definitely appreciate that. I'm not sure we'll find another player in time before the end of this video, because I'm about to do my wrap-up now. I pretty much said everything I need to say about the game. I mean, it looks, it looks okay. It definitely shows a bit of graphic fidelity. Not overly stylized. Once again, it is more focused on the realistic visuals, which is fine. A lot of gamers appreciate that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, you're not going to be getting too much of an RPG experience. You're going to be mostly getting a survival experience, so do keep that in mind. And yeah, there you go. That's pretty much my thoughts on the Savage Lands. Not too bad, actually. Not too bad. It's not going to, like I said, if you're not into survival games, this game's not going to do anything to convince you otherwise. But if you like survival games, you might like this game as well, because it shows a lot of similar gameplay as other survival games, and it does it quite well, So there is that. Plus there's, dire wolves and skeletons and dragons to be killing and hunting, so that's always fun. Anyways, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to run into another player from the looks of it, but I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this or found this informative in any way, do show me some love, like, share, fave, and comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll bring you more videos like this. Thanks for watching, folks. Alder shout outs.